that in the clip. Right?
Well, I think the reason that we're not seeing more help, if I'm going to be frank about it, is because they're Haitian. I think that is the history.
Explain, please.
Well, we saw it, and you and I talked about this, Whoopi. We saw it when it first came to the demonizing of Haitians when it came to the AIDS crisis.
That's right.
And then we saw it continuing. It really began with the raping and pilfering of France by Haiti and the punishment of Haiti for becoming the first black free nation in our hemisphere. And I think that U.S. policy towards Haiti has always been corrupt. And it doesn't have to be that way because we know that the United States can do it. There is a way to do it. There's just no will to do it because the United States and the White House has promised to bring 95,000 Afghans here. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be brought here because they should be, right? That is the promise of this country. But if you can bring 95,000 Afghans here, then why are you sending 86 Haitians back on an airplane to a country that has been devastated? So it's not about whether or not there's a way. It's not about that there's a pandemic. But this policy started with the Trump administration. It's called Title 42, and the Trump administration decided to ban migrants, refugees from coming. So when people say, well, get in line, there is no line because of the Trump administration. And there has never been a line for Haitians. And I take this personally because my husband is Haitian. And I have been to Haiti many, many times. And it is a beautiful, beautiful country with a rich culture and a beautiful people. And they should not be treated like this. And enough is enough.
Well, kind of where it's done.
Good morning and welcome to DC Today. I'm Del Walters in Washington. Ask any African American and they will tell you that MAGA didn't stand for Make America Great Again, but instead Make America White Again. Perhaps the question that should be asked is how America became so white in the first place. The answer is because of who we let in and who we keep out. And it is against that backdrop that I ask you to look at these two images. The first from Afghanistan, thousands of people trying to get out of that country, fleeing the Taliban, bodies clinging to planes, America saying something had to be done. 120,000 people evacuated in weeks, 60,000 now headed to the U.S., many of them landing in the suburbs of Washington. At the same time, an earthquake strikes Haiti, the U.S. telling Haitians, don't come here. This weekend, 14,000 Haitians huddled under this bridge in Texas. Once again, the U.S. sending planes, only these planes were meant to send the Haitians back home, back to Haiti. There is a reason that immigration is the third rail in Washington and that nothing has been done since the 1980s when Ronald Reagan was president. Based on demographics, America should look Asian since that is the world's largest population. But consider this, by 2050, the world's largest population will be black. Give us your tired, huddled masses yearning to be free, perhaps only if they are not black.
Educate yourself.
That is playing out right now is I'm curious what you think how this speaks to the legacy of that colonialism.
I think that's exactly right. So the legacy is that the Haitians were made an example of. They were told by the U.S. and the other colonial powers, you cannot do this.
Right.
There will be no liberation. There will be no self-emancipation. And if you, as enslaved people, take power, the white world, the Western world, will do everything in its power to salt the earth on which you live, to destroy your country, and make sure that you are suffering for generations and generations and generations. And it's not too much to say that more than 200 years later, they are still being made an example of.
So Haiti is the poorest country in the world. However, you might be very surprised to find out why Haiti is the poorest country in the world. Haiti was one of the richest places on the planet in the 1700s. The population of Haiti was 4-to-1 slave to free Frenchmen. So you basically had about 450,000 slaves there and 120,000, 125,000 free Frenchmen and women. Led by a slave named Toussaint, Haiti successfully overthrew one of the most powerful armies on the planet in 1804 and declared their independence. However, France made a deal with them, with warships at the ready, saying that we will invade you, recapture you, and re-enslave you unless you pay for the lost property. Well, that lost property was the human lives of the Haitians themselves. So France slapped Haiti with a $21 billion bill. That's $21 billion in today's money. It took until 1947 to pay off the initial loan. It took Haiti almost 150 years to pay off that loan. And obviously you guys know about loans and financing and debt, so how did Haiti pay that money off? Especially because France forced them to give them 50% off of their products. So Haiti was accounting for 3/4 of the world's sugar at the time, and I think a quarter or maybe 1/3 of the entire slave trade at the time. Saint-Domingue was also known as the capital of the slave trade in the West Indies, and also the worst place for a slave to end up because it was so brutal, torturous, and you could be raped and kidnapped at any point in time and sent anywhere in the world. So that debt was financed and collected by French banks, as well as an American bank that was established in 1812, which is called Citibank. That's right. Your bank has been collecting money from Haitian people to pay for their own freedom since 1812 and stopped only in 1947. With the natural resources and the people working the land that Haiti had, it should have been one of the richest countries in the world. But the transfer of wealth from Haiti to France and Haiti to French banks and Haiti to American banks to finance what is called the independence debt, which is no more than a debt for the descendants of slavery to continue to pay the countries and the people that enslaved them for their own freedom. It's well documented. It's well documented that the debt was based on slave owners losing their property. In 2004, the Haitian government demanded that France pay back the billions of dollars that it forced.
And still we.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Five Black Comic Show here every Saturday. Desi, you can wait to jump in there, man. You're gonna say and still we rise. You gonna
Yeah.
say, Maya Angelou.
That video was really powerful. That was great.
It was great.
It explains that exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like you had asked the question when while we were talking before the show. When white people say to us, how come some of us can be successful and some can't, that shows that there's no racism. I mean, that there is racism, you know. That's why Kevin drives a BMW when he should have been driving a Bentley, right? If there was no racism, Kevin would be riding in a 2021 SUV BMW, he'd be riding the Bentley. So that's how I answer that question, you know. Because I remember doing shows and found out years later that I got paid less than the white comics. I was headlining.
Yeah.
And I got paid less. And the guy explained to me, well, you know, they came a long way. You know, where in the history of the world you ever heard of the headliner making less than the feature act?
Not only that, but when you demand what you should be paid, they get angry at you.
Yeah.
You know what the going rate is for comedy and for stand-up. Every level, you know what it should be. They all of a sudden they want to underpay you and get mad when you don't accept it.
Yeah, how dare you challenge me? You know, you're lucky. You should be lucky that we give you anything because you're black. Basically, is what they're saying.
Well, you know, that goes across the board with employment. Your negotiation power is greatly diminished.
Yes, you should be happy.
Yeah.
But today we're going to tackle two topics. We're going to talk about the Haitian plight at the border in Mexico. And we're also going to talk about missing white women syndrome. But first up on the chopping block will be the Haitian, refugees. Some people don't want to call them refugees because that would mean we have to let them in and they would have to go through a due process. So a lot of people are reluctant to call them refugees, but they are refugees. We all know why they're not letting the Haitians in, and they're letting in, as you saw in the video, 95,000 Afghanistans are being allowed in. As someone so elegantly put it, as the people with the straight hair, there's something about nappy hair that makes people not want to deal with us. It's the dark. If you got the dark skin and the nappy hair combined, it's something. Because first of all,
I said that last week.
Pardon me?
I said that last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just for the record.
So, So, aren't they afraid? Weren't they afraid of terrorists? Remember when America was so afraid of terrorists that they would not even let one person from Afghanistan was one of those countries that they said they're not allowing people to travel to America from.
Right, the
Afghanistan, but now they're letting in 95,000. You think they can vet 95,000 Afghanistans to make sure not one or two are terrorists? There's no way. But so we're gonna, you know, we know why. You know, I don't understand how a Haitian is more of a threat. Hey, have we had any Haitian terrorists in Barbados in America? Have we had any Haitian terrorists here in America? Have any Haitians?
No, in fact, they're not even high on the crime scale of different nationalities. They're not even high on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to you first, Tanya. Do you mind? Are you?
Yeah, no. So my thing is, what happened to all the Mexicans? I'm just saying that was the talk before this. They had they were talking about all the other. It was Latinos that were at the border, different people, Guatemala, Mexico, wherever. What happened to that? All of a sudden, that disappeared. Remember when the 1,400 kids was missing, and they didn't know what happened to them? strange.
Mhm.
And all the kids, you know, they were complaining about molestation, being cramped in, all that. You know, remember that? That's just like 4 months ago. It was like this big thing. Oh my gosh. It all disappeared in 5 seconds when the Haitians showed up. What's up with that? I don't understand how someone in their country has had the tsunami, earthquake, and something hurricane before that. And so their country is ravaged. There's nothing there. Like if there was something there, I'd even say, do whatever you got to do. There is nothing there. I don't understand how they are justified in sending them back if they're so righteous. We're supposed to be the place to help everybody. It's clearly evident, that the U.S., in my opinion, they hate Black people. That's just my opinion. That's all I got to say about it.
Pam, do you want to jump on that?
Well, first of all, 2 points to what Tanya was saying. The first one is, before Haiti was having this back-to-back, natural disaster, they didn't want us anyway, right? And unfortunately, their infrastructure was horrible even then. So, these natural disasters now, of course, have eliminated the little bit of progress that they may have been able to make as far as shoring up their country, the housing and everything else. The other thing is, and maybe I've just been out of the loop, but to be honest with you, since Trump left, I haven't heard anything more about those children and the horrible way that they've been treated, and have they been able to reunite these children to their loved ones. So I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Those children, it's a huge blotch on American, on the face of America. And I think that how they're treating the Haitians, I mean, they've never been treated well. As you had mentioned, Tanya, about the AIDS crisis and how they immediately were blaming the Haitians. They were not blaming the Dominicans, right? Because it's all part of the same island. They weren't blaming the Cubans. They were blaming the Haitians. And this is an ongoing thing for them. The only difference that I can see in the way they're being treated now is that they've now boldly brought out the whips. And anyone who's seen those still photographs, they thought they were at a rodeo, or it was back to the paddy wagons again, because that's immediately what came up for me. The fact that they even had whips. I have never seen them when they're dealing with Hispanic people coming across the border. I've never seen any pictures of that. And to be honest with you, it seemed, I know it wasn't, but it seemed as though it was very staged, because those shots that they got were like, that wasn't just somebody kind of clicking a camera. I mean, they looked as though they were ready for National Geographic to do them. So, it's just a shame that I have a feeling that those people came that direction to get into America because they thought that it was a lot easier, and everything was set up a bit more to get them through the process than if they were trying to swim over into Miami, because of what we've seen with the South Americans coming over, and for them to be treated in like they were being herded cattle.
Yeah.
Is horrible.
Kev, aren't the Democrats supposed to be the ones who love Black people?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was just about to say.
They ain't got nothing to do with it.
But it was my turn that I think it's time for us to wake up for real right now, because we bitched for 4 years about the way the Trump administration handled the immigration, with the kids and the kids, the separation of families. But as Pam pointed out, those pictures of the men on the horses with the whips, to me, is probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever witnessed. I mean, it was probably, that was horrible. That's a horrible image for the world to see,
face, right?
for the world to see, for Americans to see, and not enough people are bitching about it. I mean, it's yesterday news already, because in America, the news cycle changes every freaking hour, man. I mean, every hour is something else that's on the top of the news. So that'll be an old story. It's already an old story, but it's going by next week. I mean, Biden swears on a stack of Bibles that these people are gonna pay with justice. The guys on the horses are gonna be we're gonna find these guys. They're gonna be fired and stuff like that. But what's taking so long?
But can I just say one thing about that though? Those guys on horses, even when all the protesting that was happening, and they had these, officers of the law and these people in unmarked vehicles coming up and grabbing people up. How about on an individual level? How do you do that to another human being if you have to have had some kind of anger, what are the skills? What is the temperament of those people to be able to do that to other human beings?
I can answer that for you easily.
Yes, what?
It's the same blood that enslaved millions of Africans, the same blood that had Jim Crow for 250 years on African Americans. It's the same blood.
And when they ask if racism is alive, that goes along with it, right? Why? How can it be alive? Because it's still in there.
Well, did you see the look on the guy's face, especially the one that was like reddish brown hair? The guy that has the main picture. It's the picture you won't forget. His face was very.
He looked like he was enjoying
of a slave master. When you get out of line, you know how you get out of line, so they're gonna whip you. His face was the absolute moment of that, whatever that was back then.
They captured it.
He was enjoying, like, I'm gonna show you. Yeah, captured
the disdain, the hatred.
And that's what I saw, hatred.
And the disconnect from their humanity. Exactly. That's what it is, a disconnect. I don't care how much you're paying me. How can you, even when they put those children in cages, I would not have been able to keep that job. I know how, my family would have been, missing that paycheck. But how do you do it and still live with yourself as a Christian, Christianity and everything? How do you do that?
Desi, answer Pam's question. How do they do it?
They do it because they dehumanize us on every level. When you look at,
you disconnect.
We are told that we are too uptight and we are making it big issues over little things, but all these little things are adding up. So we see that in a cartoon, when an African American is portrayed, they're portrayed as something other than a human being. In the movies, entertainment, education, we're educated. We learn all about European history, which is basically a war history, but we don't learn about the humanity history, the invention of the inoculations against diseases that was created by the Africans, the way that everything that we've done for humanity's sake, way more than what we're giving credit for, the overall majority. And so because they are able to minimize who we are and how we contributed, they can see us as insignificant. And that's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. It's every week we're talking about the inhumanity, man's inhumanity to man, as we learned in school, and the ability of these people to act just like Nazis in that they put the blame on President Trump, but it was all of these people. I mean, he couldn't do it all on his own.
No.
We know through Facebook, we know through conversations, coffee shop conversations, there's an overwhelming amount of people that are complicit with the inhumane treatment of specifically Black people. And this is why I really rail against when people say the Black and brown correlation or whatever combination. What happened? Isn't it interesting that when the brown people were coming in, oh, what can we do? We gave them they were able to drive without having driver's license. They were told, don't arrest them. They don't have to pay taxes. They can still go to school. They can still do everything. When we see people who are melanated, highly melanated, all of a sudden we got planes showing up. Who's paying for these planes? and they can take them right back where they came from. Why couldn't those planes be there for all the other groups? So I, for one, I think America has a promise, which is give us your poor, your huddled masses. And this is supposed to be a sanctuary country where if things are going wrong in your country or you're being oppressed as a human being, you're allowed to come here, get asylum, and live a new life. But we know that America does not keep its promises.
Nope.
Specifically, the people that built the country, we have not gotten our promise. And I say, immigration, all of that has to be cut out until the United States resolves its first sin, which is slavery. Because we see that when the brown people were coming in and the Afghan refugees, what can we do for these people? We got to do something. We can't help it. We got to let them in. As soon as black people come in, we got to get them out of here. I mean, planes, everything was available. That's a problem. The hypocrisy is just, it's maddening. We know this on this panel. We all know this, but we got to, we're doing the good work. We might have like 2 views, but at least we're trying, we're getting it out there that this is not acceptable, and we need to get a group of people to understand that we're on our own. We have no friends, like Dr. Henry Clark said. Black man, you have no friends. We can't depend on anybody. It's just us, and you're going to see this theme go through because when we talk about the white women missing syndrome, we're going to see again. We have no friends. It's just us.
But can I just say something, though? I think the mistake that we're making is when we talk about those huddled masses, you got to think about the times they were talking about, who they were talking about. They weren't talking about Haitians. They weren't talking about Africans. They were talking about all the other non-African nations. So when those promises that they made, they did not make it to Africans.
No, because they say we weren't even seen as human beings. So that doesn't apply to us.
So in order for us to excel and be truly equal, we cannot sit on those promises because those promises were never made to us.
Like the movie New Jack City, CMB, man, we all we got.
That's a fact.
But like somebody pointed out, I think I saw this on a social media comment. All of the, I don't know if it might have been somebody said it here, but all of the people in Congress, people that make our laws, all the white men grew up in the Jim Crow era.
Yeah,
right?
The majority of them.
Yeah, the majority of them. They're still, so they went along with it. They didn't come out of the Jim Crow era happily, glad that the laws changed.
Yep.
Right? They came out kicking and screaming.
Yep.
So these are the same people that are in control of the law, that are pretty much.
And we call him Jim Crow Joe Biden.
It was both parties, by the way, Carl.
Oh, really? Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
As we think Republicans, it's Democrats and Republicans.
Can I just say something about labels? I'm becoming more and more irritated with the labels.
Right.
Because I don't care. You can call a Republican a Democrat, and in fact, that's what happened. It switched because the Democrats used to be the Southern racists. Yes. So we have to be really careful about the labels and how we define those labels because they can switch at any moment. The same thing with the whole thing of black and brown. Excuse me, I'm brown.
Right.
If you really, the differentiation, as Carl had mentioned earlier, is the texture of our hair. To the most part, although because there are some people from India who are darker than me, darker than Tanya, and they're the only, and for them to be classified as one thing and me another, how come they're not considered black?
Because they're from because
their hair texture is different.
Hair texture.
And they got technology.
White man
technology. They don't give a hoot because I'm not saying, look, they have gone through their suffering too. So I'm not trying to take away from anybody's suffering, but imagery is very important, and I don't mind being called black, but when they start all of a sudden now all of a sudden you got to split hairs, about, you're black and I'm not even, and don't talk about the Dominican Republic.
Oh, don't do it.
That country, I will never go there.
Kevin was saying something.
No, I was just going along with the hair thing. That's a big thing because with Asians, for example, white people accept Asians quicker, than they would accept Black people with coarse hair, and it's because of the straight hair connection. Yeah.
And they can have the same complexions as we do.
I don't think it is. I think it's because they have something that's visible to bring to the table, technology. So I think India. I don't know. I could be wrong, but why is it that I know, even though they're dealing with racism, they just don't know. I had a guy at least 4 or 5 shades darker than me from India, cab driver, call me the N-word, and I won't say who it was, but somebody who had authority heard the whole thing. It was at a light, and he walked away. He's like, I'm not even gonna, because he was like, how do you call me that N? And you're darker than he was, way darker, man.
Because it has nothing to do with our color. It has to do with our origins.
Exactly, and that's the thing. America's selective on who is okay and who's not.
And the reason they are that way, the reason why they are that way is because of numbers. They want the numbers.
Exactly.
And the only way that they can keep us downtrodden in Korea, in Vietnam, and it is about how much lighter you are.
But
as opposed to how darker.
And Carl, that TikTok video that you showed first was excellent, where it said that the overwhelming percentage of people in the world are Asian. Why isn't the United States reflect that percentage? Because if you look at it, after slavery, Black people were about 45% of the United States population, right at the end of slavery, 1865. And then since then, we've been designated 12 to 15%, which a lot of people don't believe those numbers in the first place. But have you noticed that with the latest reporting of the census, where they have white people who classify themselves as white, as diminishing, and they're freaking out. But if you look down the line, the Latinos are coming up, but the
big
Black
time
remain at 12 to 15%. Our numbers never increase or decrease. There's something screwy about that.
Yeah. Well, Pam was born in America, so she probably didn't have this issue. But in the Caribbean, when you want a visa to come to America, you have to go, you have to pay, you have to go, to give you an appointment. You probably have to stand in line for hours. Once you get in there, they want
your bank account.
Yeah, sometimes they talk to neighbors to see
employment.
They want to make sure you're going to come back, that you're not going to come to America and not return. You have to pay like $500 for the application. And if they say no, you don't get your money back.
Right.
You don't get that $500 back. If you want to apply again, you got to come up with another $500. You know what I mean? So they make it, and I found out it's not that hard when you're coming from Europe. You know,
nothing is
much easier. But when the Caribbean and Haiti and any place where there's Black people coming to America, they make it very, very, very hard.
Yes.
To come to America.
Yes, I know a girl that was married, and because her husband's from Africa, she's a citizen and everything, but he can't even visit here. And I was like, wow.
And you have to have a certain amount of money in your bank account.
Yes, you have to have, right. I mean, you do get to Kennedy Airport.
Yes.
Then they decide how long they're going to let you in.
Yeah.
But if you're
they might give you in the Caribbean, they might say we give you a year visa. It's going to expire in a year. That doesn't mean you can stay a year in America, because when you get to Kennedy, the immigration is going to say, okay, we give you a month. You got to, they're going to give you a month or 2 weeks or whatever. They have the option.
Right.
You know what I mean? To
do that. But I know one thing that was strange to me that I never could understand. My Italian friends, many of them still had their Italian, and they got to keep their American passport. How is that?
Yeah, well,
I think in Barbados you can do that too. But anyway,
move on to the missing white woman.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna tell me if anybody recognize these names: Gabby Petito, Elizabeth Smart, Natalie Holloway, John Benet Ramsey, and Adam Walsh. We all recognize those names. right?
Yeah, they're more famous than all of us.
Yeah. Now let's play a little trivia pursuit here on the panel. Name one black person that you've seen in the media in the last decade.
In mainstream media.
In mainstream media. Yes.
You mean missing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kelly Price today.
Who?
But she was found.
Exactly. I was going to say she wasn't really missing. But yeah, Kelly Price. But
that was plastered all over the media.
Yeah, well, that was.
Well, I don't know about standard media, but
No,
black
media.
media.
Media. She didn't make it to national news.
Are you sure?
Media. She was missing Facebook and Instagram and things like that. I mean, people put it out, and but she didn't make it in.
Are you sure?
I thought Jimmy Walker was missing, but then I see him on those commercials. Dynamite.
Dynamite.
So the point we're making here is that there is, I mean, it's not even a debate.
Yeah, she was on the news.
They do.
Yeah, look all over. Yep.
They do go crazy when white women go.
NBC. Yep.
But a regular white woman, she's a celebrity. She's an entertainer. So, you know.
Who is that?
Right.
Who you guys
Kelly Price.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's just
she was on all the media. She was on it.
The singer?
Yeah.
Yes.
But she's missing because she has COVID. She's not missing because she's.
So they found that out now that she was
different context. Regular people, just regular people, you know.
Just the average person.
Yeah, Kelly Price has some fame, so
yeah.
So that's that. But I'm talking about, I mean,
actually, you're right because I told you my cousin, they looked for a boy in the Bronx. Was it last week with the Citizen app? And they actually found one, but they found another one that was dead.
And also,
it wasn't on the news.
Elizabeth Smart, she got a TV show.
Did she get a TV show, or she just had a lot of interviews?
No, she has a show. She's on Crime Watch Daily. She had a movie. She did a Lifetime movie.
They did do They do a lot of movies about them.
Right. Natalie Holloway, her mom, got a TV show called Vanished.
Oh, really?
Yeah, her mom has a TV show
It
called.
might have been the original goal. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I was in Aruba. I was in Aruba, and I was talking to some locals about that case, and what I heard made me say, let me know more about your family. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, John Walsh, his son Adam was missing, and he had America's Most Wanted.
For years, decades.
He's the reason why we even find people now.
How many black parents do you know got a TV show, or how many black people got a movie?
Actually, I know one. Wait, with short hair, black girl. Tamron Hall did get one, and her child, somebody was her sister, or somebody was
murdered. But guess what? I was gonna bring that up. Tamron Hall has a TV show, one of those ID like television shows. But she don't. You can't even. Nobody on this panel can tell us what's her sister's name because she never even mentions her sister.
Right.
But she didn't get it because of that. No, she was already in media.
Yes, that's
what I'm saying. That's
you're saying okay.
As a result of no.
Yeah, all of these white girls that are missing are just regular nobodies.
Yeah, it plays. They play to imagery and everything else. Quite a few years ago, I had a cousin who went missing, and I personally called. At the time, it wasn't, cable wasn't as much, but I did call the mainstream, the local, WPIX and Fox News and Channel 5 and things like that. And to this day, no one has returned my phone call. I left a message. I left information about it. Nothing.
Because you have to put a spin on it. Oh, my cousin's missing. He's a platinum blonde, and
well, that's not going to help the cause when you're trying to get the description of the person out there so people can help. End up finding her in London with, she tried to kill herself, but and she unfortunately did succeed after 3 attempts. But my point is that they are looking for it's packaging, it's marketing.
That's what I'm saying. If you're
what somebody on the panel said before is, and this is also Dr. Kaba Kamene said, I'm surprised you're surprised. The same people that same blood, I think, Kevin, you said it, that same blood that allowed slavery and allowed the inhumane treatment only cares about a specific demographic.
Right.
We have to really realize this. They rely on us for humanity. We're the humanity of the United States. We're the ones who lead everything when it comes to
forgive and forget and everything.
Right. And so we got to understand, maybe we need to make a national thing, a Facebook group, and we need to call out every Black person that we're going to start a network to look for all Black people, because we can't rely on
There
America.
are some organizations out there.
Yeah,
Well,
and they
we need their profile
not as
to
much.
raise up.
Yes.
But also they should also download Citizen app. I'm telling you, this is a great app. It tells you about everything going on in the current moment. So if someone's missing right now, if you reach out to them, they're on it. Like literally, you can ask Prince Map about it.
But that's what we need. We need more of that. We are all we got. We got to depend on each other. We might not, Carl, I might not like that hat you wear. I might think it's cool, but we got to work together to make sure. We got to work together. I mean,
you leave Ern Hall alone.
Excuse me. To be totally superficial, why is it you got Spider-Man up there and not the Green Lantern?
It's the only sheet my son has. That's the Black Spider-Man. That's Miles. That's Miles.
Is that it? I don't know. That looks like Peter to me. Peter Parker.
Yeah. We all got to work together. You know, we might not get along. We might not even like each other. But we really do got to, like, no matter what, we got to look out. We got to help each other. We have to put that spirit of the Million Man March. I remember when I went to that, and everybody I saw, we did, like, if you saw the movie Rosewood, when the Black guy was supposed to help the white guy, he showed him his ring that he's a Mason, and the Black guy went, and he helped him out. That's what we got to do to all of us. We got to help each other out. It's got to be a thing.
Maybe we can come up with like a little bumper sticker we can put on our cars to show that we're.
What you want this?
We can put flags on like Trump people.
You know,
the problem with that though.
Why do we keep hoping things are going to change? Why do we?
Because we have to have hope. Because without hope, we have nothing.
We keep relying on them,
but we can have hope and still
change. We have to be the change. We cannot rely, because we see all these movies where the savior is not us, even in slave movies. I watched Bruce Lee yesterday, a Bruce Lee movie about him fighting the guy from Shaolin Master. And the guy who saved Bruce Lee and the Shaolin Master was a white guy from San Francisco who was from Indiana. So we're conditioned to think of them as the savior. And that's the movies. It's not realistic. We got to save ourselves.
That's right. I teach my foster youth that all the time. Only you can save you.
Yeah, but
I think, but we can't do it unfortunately, I think we can't necessarily do it in a bubble, you know. But I do believe that we do have to be that. We have to be that for ourselves, because no one else is going to be able to give the passion and the sincerity. But the question I have with surrounding that is, how do we balance doing that for ourselves, but still teaching our children? Because I think we've all taught our children to love everyone and be include everyone. You know, anyone can be your friend. You know, we indoctrinate that into them, but yet I think it seems like we, generally speaking, don't get to this thing where we have to fight for hours ourselves until we're much older. Like, how do you get your children to be that focused, you know, so that future generations can also pick up the torch?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to show a couple of videos here.
It's not really talked about much, but a lot of Black people go missing or get their organs harvested. And the reason for that is the people you call elites or these archons, they believe that if they eat Black people, yes, they eat Black people, that they will achieve immortality.
Okay, that's some sick stuff.
That is crazy.
There are some.
Did you know that there's such a thing as missing white woman syndrome? And in the case of Gabby Petito, she's just another example of it. And no, I'm not making that up. The term was coined by award-winning journalist and PBS anchor Gwen Ifill. And basically it means America will garner its attention and provide so much coverage just for one white woman compared to, I don't know, 64,000 to 75,000 missing black women and girls. And the thing with me is that this case has been getting national news coverage comparable to the epidemic, when in all reality, the news should have been giving all this coverage and effort to solving each and every single individual case of this epidemic.
Kevin ran away.
Okay, can I explain it?
No, I don't need nothing to be explained to me. I'm being followed. Okay. He called the cops. Congratulations.
Yes.
I'm coming to and from a house. Ooh, he's committing a crime. He's black.
No one's saying
he's black.
Okay.
He's black.
I'm gonna explain
I'm
why
doing
we're
my
here.
fucking paper route.
Okay, I understand that. I see all the papers in your car.
Yeah,
okay?
congratulations.
He just called saying that someone threatened his life. That's why we're here, okay?
Yeah, I threatened his life because I walked up to him and asked him why he's following me.
You're not under arrest. Can you step out of the car?
I don't need to be under arrest. I don't. That's dumb.
Appreciate it.
You're gonna arrest me?
No, I'm not gonna arrest. Come sit right here, okay?
Look, I'm working.
Sit on the bunker.
I'm
You got any weapons on you?
No, I don't got shit on me. I'm at work.
We're gonna dispatch you, okay?
Gosh, I got a fucking knife in my car.
That's fine. I don't care about what's in the car.
To cut my straps on my newspaper.
Okay.
Nothing. We don't need nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing, officer. What are we here?
Unfreaking real.
Did you guys see the police stop of Pepito and the guy?
Yeah.
Could you tell? Could you tell that? Yeah, that's white privilege right there. But could you tell that he was the abuser and she was the victim?
Yeah.
In hindsight,
I didn't see the.
That's on his.
The way she was crying. The way she was crying, I wish you could have pulled that up, Carl. The way she was crying, everything about that was wrong. That, in my opinion, that the officer did. Because he acknowledged that she said, we've been fighting, and he said, okay, what I'm gonna do is separate you two. I'm gonna leave now, but I want you two to separate for the night. He left her in the canyon with this guy that she just said she had a fight with, crying, distraught, like he messed up. He messed up. That's my if I was a parent, I'd be suing him and getting his pension. I'm just
show of hands. If that was a black couple, who thinks that they would have
never came? The Bears would have came first. It would have never happened. Actually, they would have both been arrested.
They would have come, but they would have arrested. I think
or shot.
Probably both of us would have been arrested.
Yeah. What are you crying for? What are you crying for? Do you have a gun? What are you crying for? It's like
no. She's irrational.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Irrational.
We can't control her.
Resisting arrest. I mean, oh God, we go.
They would have both been arrested.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
That would have been a whole nother scenario. Unless
and you're lucky to be arrested because most of the time, if you look at was it Sandra Bland who was
horrible,
who got pulled over for throwing a cigarette out of the car, she ended up dead. They said suicide.
Yeah. In the police in a cell. Yeah.
Right, with garbage bags.
She took the garbage bag out. Ooh, okay. You know how hard it is to strangle yourself? Give me a break.
Right. Yeah. Well, what about I know we're talking about another topic, so I won't go into it, but there was a homeless black guy found is it Central Park with a rope around his neck?
No, I haven't heard that one. Recently?
We'll go back to that. Mm-hmm. Yes, day before yesterday? You'll have to Google that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the white woman is revered, right? And she is the precious, the precious symbol of besides the white man of America. So anytime she goes, but I mean, I don't want to be remiss and say only all white women get that kind of notoriety if they're missing, because there are a lot of white women that don't.
Right.
But definitely there is when they bring those people on, they're usually blonde, attractive, right? Yeah. And has this angelic kind of thing going on. You don't see the women with tattoos all over their face that go missing. So it is a marketing tool that they use, but it's amazing how they are willing to send it coast to coast.
Mm-hmm.
And give that constant attention to it, and not other people who are darker.
Yes.
And who have the quote unquote nappy hair.
Can I say something?
It's what you just said, Pam, about the marketing thing is interesting because I've had debates with white people that the only reason George Floyd or Breonna Taylor gets the coverage they get is because they're black. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's okay for people that are murdered by. So the argument from these people are from some of the white guys I've debated with is that, well, if a white guy got shot by a cop, CNN wouldn't cover it because it wouldn't get ratings. And we're saying basically, if the only way attractive white woman gets ratings when she's missing, and I find that interesting.
But you know what? But you know the difference is when we get that notoriety, it's usually for a negative, something that we have done, as opposed to them. It's what has been done to them.
Right.
Right. So it's a narrative.
Yeah, but white men would not get the coverage for one reason, because they don't want to scare people, white people. Just like you won't find out that there are actually more white women being murdered by their husbands per day than anything, all the crime going on at all. But they will not tell you that because the media and those the powers that be do not want to get that narrative.
That's not the spin that they want to do.
It's like there are more white people that are ODing on drugs than there are black people in the hood, let's just say, right? But they're not going to put that narrative, because if they start putting that narrative, what does that say about them?
And
right?
this is
told like they're great, this is great, that's great. And now if you start hearing it was out of the 10 ODs, 8 were other, right? It wasn't all black people. There were 10 robberies, 8 of them were white people or whoever, anybody but us, right? If you start hearing these narratives on television, what do you think is going to happen? That means that their card is going to be pulled. And now, so they got to always put in the media that this is what this is, and this is what's great, and this is what's not.
Well, that's why they emphasize black on black crime as opposed to white.
Let me make this point. The reason that black people is highlighted when a white cop shoots a black person versus a white cop shooting a white person, because we have 400 years of white people killing black people, and enough is a fucking enough. Okay, we have a history. We have a history of white people killing black people, right? It's kind of like right? Most domestic violence is men abusing women, men killing their wives, killing their girlfriends. Women kill men too, occasionally, but it never makes the news. Why? Because there's no real long history of women killing men. There is a
percentage.
History, right? There is a history of men killing women, so that's why that is highlighted, because enough of that also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the argument. That's
but it's a narrative that they want to do. They want to say black and black crime. Oh, black and black crime. But the reality of it is that crime is usually is greatly crime against your own group is much higher than crime against another group. So when they talk about, it's black on black crime and yeah, okay, there is black and black crime, but you don't mention white on white crime and the statistics on there. So it really is about what narrative they want to push forward.
Yes.
So it is the reason that those people made the news. It is because they're black, and for a very good reason. They should make the news because they're black. You know what I mean? Because we have a history. I mean, the video I showed with we didn't get a running start until 1964. That video showed.
That was good. That was good. But what I'd like to know is why aren't more white women pulling up to come in and use their privilege card, as I would do. If I have a privilege, I'm using that sucker. I don't care what anybody says. I'm using it. And I have some in my little microcosm way, right? We all do in some way, right? And I try to do it in that way. But if I had that privilege, are you kidding me? Why are they not at the border saying, you can't be taking people back? Why aren't they using their voice? I know why. They're scared to lose their little bit of, they think of some privilege they have.
And also it doesn't affect them that much.
Yeah. Well, they don't really have any, let's see.
So they don't have they don't have skin in the game.
Yeah, they don't really have.
And they're still benefiting from the subjugation of those they deem as lower than them.
Right. And that's the benefits.
Absolutely.
Benefits. Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about America and why it is that they're not helping Haiti. Well, because they don't see an economic value in doing so.
Exactly.
Why are they in Afghanistan and the Middle East? Because there's an economic value.
Yep.
But and also one of the videos that guy said there is considerable, like a lot of European countries have band together to keep Haiti down. They do it to Africa,
They do it
Right.
you know what I mean? They do it to all the countries that are predominantly black. You know what I mean? But we don't want to believe.
Listen,
We are
listen, the amount of money that goes out of African countries on a daily basis, not one segment of them should be starving.
Yeah, but we just don't want to believe
Right.
that people can be that evil. We just don't want to believe it. You know what I mean?
I believe it. It's not shocking to me at
No,
all.
there's not enough of us. I mean,
It is almost unimaginable that
Yeah.
that level of hate and,
No, it's
and
not.
evil
No, it's
can,
not.
can be.
Now, when you read what happened to us, I mean, come on, they put it this way. You know about the Belgians, how they used to chop off the little boys' hands and then make Belgian chocolates. And you go to the thing, like, I want those little hands. Look at the little Negro hands. I mean, this was a thing. This is not. So if you can do that and you can practice, they practice an abortion. Okay, I forgot his name. The doctor did look it up. He practiced an abortion at his daughter's wedding or something like that. I mean, the reception or something, or the bridal shower party or something. Look it up. I'm not kidding. He was doing it as they're eating. They're watching this poor black slave get practiced on with no anesthesia. So, like, what's shocking? You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of evil in this world.
I mean, the word MF. You know, we talked about this, right? Where that comes from. You actually co-facilitated that, and I expect you to be of human nature.
But again, that's what they do to dogs. So why wouldn't they do that to us?
I mean,
I think in part we're in denial because if we acknowledge the pure evil and hate that we're up against, we have to do something about it. And I think the a lot of people don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to confront it.
Yeah, I mean, like you see it on, I mean, CNN, you have the black news anchors, they're all talking about pretty much the same thing we're talking about. We're trying to explain it, we're trying to understand it. I mean, when the police shootings were going on every other day, I saw I think it was on The View, and Whoopi Goldberg were saying that police need more training. You know what I mean? That's why they're shooting black people. I mean, it's not more. We all know what it is, but like I said, we just can't believe that. And no matter how much they show us who they are, we still can't believe it, even though they're showing us this is who we are. They dragged the black man inside the car until his head came off. You know what I mean?
But the problem is so
a certain type of person that still has their brain literally stuck in the slavery period, and I can spot those people. They're what I call the original Trumpsters, not the ones that say, "Well, my taxes have got to." Well, we think sounds like a good excuse, but it really isn't. So there's some people that are not hardcore. There's some that literally, what he said, I can choose somebody and get away with it, and I believe that. And those people believe that. And he remember the guy at the front of the White House with the Bible, and he got knocked over and they just walked by him. I mean, anything can happen. I trust no one except for my friends and family and immediate people that ride with me. If you ride with me, then obviously I trust you. If you don't, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at you.
I would think that no matter how much as individuals people are shocked and appalled, the problem is that the majority of European countries have systemically, they have built up a system that seems to be infallible. And they have created it with us in mind to be able to oppress us continuously. And until those systems are changed, it will never change all the way around.
Yeah.
Well, Pam, you're right on. And just to go full circle, there was a Facebook thing that said, ever since we took Aunt Jemima off the pancake thing, you would think it would have solved world peace. And I responded to the people who posted this. We have to dismantle white supremacy step at a time. And so even though it might seem insignificant, it's still a symbol of oppression that we are taking down.
No, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Kev, you want to wrap up, and then I go to
yes. Just going back to the Haitian thing. I'm gonna skip over that. Let's it's because it's too long. Yeah, man. I just want to say it's a good show. I think that the immigration thing should have been solved a long time ago, under presidents way before Biden, way before Trump, way before Obama. It's been going on for a long time. And the bottom line is, it's not being fixed for a reason, and we know the reason. And then as far as the missing white girls, man, I mean, we have enough black media with power, like the TV ones and like the BETs and enough famous black people, man, that we should be having a bigger campaign going to find these missing black women in America.
Yes.
So it's just too much power from black media for them not to be highlighting the way the white media or the mainstream media, if you want to put it that way, highlights Gabby. You know what I'm saying? So until we start just doing what we're supposed to do, man, we're always gonna be in these shoes, bro. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Sonia.
So my first thing I want to tell y'all, first of all, my hair is not nappy. My hair is extremely curly. That's number one. I want to correct that so that y'all out there
tightly wound.
will not be calling me nappy. My hair is tightly curled. Okay, let's get that right, because we don't want no black eyes. That's for clear. Secondly, here's the thing. So we have to, as far as the missing girls, like you said, we have to step up. There are so many things and apps out there. Citizen app, I'm telling you, is the bomb.com. And not bomb like the other one. But Citizen app is really good. If you know your child is missing, please contact people and get the picture out first. Even if the police don't do nothing, the first thing is gathering the community to do a search, especially when it's come to our autistic children. They got to be found like ASAP. Like you only have like a certain amount of hours before somebody actually gets them. So that's 2. 3, what do you call it? 3 is politicians. Be on notice that we are watching you, we see you, and we be voting. So just be on lookout, because that all this, the Haitians getting whipped and all this stuff that's going on is really going to come down to who are the people that we're putting in charge, and we're not holding them accountable, because still nobody ain't give us nothing yet. Biden made all the promises, and we're like, blah, 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 blah. What happened, Biden? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, he's like, he's just lost on, and I don't know what he's stuck on. But so we have to hold people accountable. Is my part on the Haitian part. So go ahead, and it'll come back to that, to the border. But in the microcosm of things, we've got to start holding people accountable and stepping up. Well,
I'm gonna say, why 95,000 Afghanistans and not Haitians too? I'm not saying bring the Haitians and not the Afghanistans. I'm not sure bring the Afghanistan people and not the Haitians. Why not Haitians too? You know what I mean? And also, why look for white women so hard and not black, Asian, Chinese? You know what I mean? Why not give everyone? Why not treat us all equal? That's just, you know what I mean? I mean, and it's so obvious and it's in our face. And before we go, I want to ask the panel this question. Do you think that racist white people know what they're doing and don't, and they think we're not onto it, or they know what they're doing, they don't care whether or not we are onto it?
Bam, there it is. That's it.
I think that they know they have the power to not have to care.
Yep, that's it. And once that power is taken, that'll change.
Yeah.
Just to.
Can you finally be done?
No, I just want to say I think that's a hard question, Carl, because I want to believe that they don't know what they're doing. Because, like I said, I've argued with so many people that still tell me that Trump's not racist, and I go, how can you not see that? How can you not see this? And they go, well, Biden's racist. And how can you see Biden's racism when you can't see Trump's racism? So I had this argument so many times. Like, you can see Biden's racist. You even call Obama racist, but you don't see Trump racist. But Obama is the reason for race relations in this country being bad. I mean, I have these arguments all the time with white people on social media that, Obama started the race problem in America.
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah,
because if he had not been elected, He could have been pushed to the side, and people would not have been so threatened, right? Just to let you know, Kev, you were talking about black media. Roland Martin started a Black Star Network app. He has his own network now, so that's another avenue. Roland Martin.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Good. Thanks for telling me that. I love Roland Martin.
Yeah. So.
All right. Let me thank. I didn't read any comments. Donna Haggard said, whatever happened to give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses?
White people.
Yep.
Yes.
Not for us.
It was a paraphrasing. They meant to say, give us all of your white.
Yeah. Yep.
And they. Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like Yvonne Williams Simmons. I think she's new to the channel.
That's my friend. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Yvonne. She said a lot of stuff. She said they don't consider us as human, as being human.
That's exactly what I said. Yep.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Yep.
Pamela.
Look at the boys that were missing in Atlanta. Remember that? Remember the Atlanta murders?
Yeah.
Oh, every day there are hundreds of young people going missing and never found.
80s, I think. One's 80s. It was the 80s, the 70s, the late 70s. When 200.
Yes, the Atlanta was in the
The
and
80s. Then they said it was that guy that did it. I was like, look at him.
And it wasn't.
I don't think it was. I don't believe it. Yeah. To this day.
If any of my kids ever go missing, I'm gonna tell the cops they're white.
That's exactly. I'm like, oh, he's white on.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell the cops they're white, and I'm gonna tell them the car they're driving. And when they find the car, I'm sure they'll find my kid. They go, I thought your kid was white. Yeah, well, gotcha.
No, you can say I'm in.
No.
I put white on my nationality.
Yeah.
I'm dark or whatever they say.
Wasn't it? I remember Richard Pryor did a bit back in the 70s, and he did a bit something along the. Remember that, Desi or Kev, or he said
about what?
The police are not going to get involved unless you say there's a black man out there killing a white woman.
Yes.
And then they drop everything, and this is like back in the 70s.
Yep, he sure did. Yep.
Things don't change.
No,
they don't change.
Yeah.
That handsome boy over there.
Yes. Yes. Pam said something I didn't quite understand. She said, what Tanya just described sounds like what happened with Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm not sure.
Yes, that's.
I said something about Jeffrey Dahmer?
No,
I didn't say.
Yeah.
No, this is Pamela Jones replying.
Oh.
Tanya said.
Yeah.
But I'm not understanding.
It's two different things. Jeffrey Dahmer was eating young black boys. I don't want him to hear that. But this guy was the Atlanta murderer. I forgot what they called him, what they labeled. He killed up. I want to say how many kids over?
It was like 20 some odd kids.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Black boys, yeah, and so that's totally separate. So I'm just saying none of them.
Wayne Williams is his name.
Williams.
And they all got attention because after like the 20th kid, the parents were like, we're going to just go and we're going to pick a line or whatever we're going to do. Other than that, probably wouldn't have got no attention. So.
Yeah.
Because how do you have that many people missing? Because even after, like, let's say, even after the fifth one, wouldn't you think they would want to put up a camera in there?
But I think I saw a documentary that I forget the black man who was mayor at the time, light skinned, big guy. I think that anyway, whoever he was, I think at that, if I'm not mistaken, was that when they were trying to build the airport? Or something major was about to happen, and they didn't want the spotlight to be on the fact that these children were going missing or something like that. Yep. So they tried to keep it down.
Yeah.
But again, if it were 15 or even 5 white kids, I'm sure they would have said to hell with that. We got to go with this story.
You know what gets me is that we all are black. We all know what's happening. We all see what's happening. We all know they don't like us. Some of them, as Yvonne said, we know it's not all white people. We all have white people. But yet still we don't come together, and you know what I mean? That just boggles
but that's also because of of the great work that they did in brainwashing us into not trusting anything that's not on mainstream media.
When I hear that, my question is always, when are we gonna smarten up? When is it gonna end? When is the brainwashing gonna end?
When we teach our children and they teach their children, who was it that said it was going to be 400 years? Was it David Walker?
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow. Okay, there you go.
And actually, it's longer, but yeah.
The same way, real quickly.
I mean, and I'm not saying that that's the number. I'm thinking that as we go along, it's getting better.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the TV show. We're talking about the black lady. What's her name? That has a TV show that looks for kids. I mean, she looks for missing girls. Her sister got murdered.
Tamron Hall.
Tamron Hall.
Tamron Hall. And she's hired to do that show by a white network.
Yeah, of course.
And it's on a white network.
Yeah.
And most of her cases, I guess, she has some black cases, but most of them are Caucasian people. But my point is, Tyler Perry can have that same thing with a black host that's searching for all black missing.
Maybe that's something you can pitch to him.
That's a good idea. And I'll make
Good luck.
Will advertisers pay to advertise on that show? Because that's where
we'll get pushback because we got to look for all people, all lives matter.
But how about this? How about we do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
But our teams kind of say, well, these I think are a little bit more, more that we could do a lot more with this, and just throw in the odds and ends, the sprinkles of salt in the mix.
But there's a show called The First 48.
Yeah, I love that show.
Oh, but that's
right.
Are we gonna go there with that?
But it's all about black crime, and it's always a black murder.
Of course, they never want to show you that we're the ones that they're got
right.
2 days to get.
But they get advertisers for that.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So why wouldn't they get advertisers?
We get advertising for it because if you watch TV One or you ever try to watch a show on BT, there's 500 commercials every freaking 30 minutes. You can't get to a BT show without a commercial every freaking 30 seconds. Trust me, I'm not even exaggerating. So they have advertising.
They have us advertise McDonald's.
Yeah, it's advertising.
But here's the thing: those people who decide how that money is going to be spread out and what shows they want, they are the ones who are going to be like, oh, well, I don't know. It just doesn't seem very relevant. How many people are really going to want to watch that? So you've got to.
Before we sign off, let's make sure that Carl, you had a great idea. We're going to be doing a gratitude show. Make sure we get that.
Yes. Pretty soon, as possible, I want to do a show where we give thanks to all of our friends, family, grandmothers, fathers. I'm a big believer in telling people that you love them while they're here.
Yep.
Not wait till they're dead. It annoys me when they put up statues after people die. They put up all these monuments after they die. I'm a big believer in telling people how you feel now, right now, while they're alive, while they can hear. I want to talk about my dad and my mom, why I tell them why I love my mom, why I love my sisters, why I love my friends that I love.
And when we have that show, we want the audience, we want you guys to share this so that they can get their props, because some people don't watch, or grandparents, they don't really have, but we want them to all see their living tribute.
Yes. If you want to come on, give Carl your email and he'll
some people, it's hard for some people to say I love you. I mean, my dad and I exchanged I love yous when I was a teenager. I didn't exchange I love yous with my mom till I was in my 40s. It's different, but we did, and it's all good now. It was all good before, but you know what I mean? But I'm a really big believer in telling the people you love. I have friends, white friends. I'm going to bring up some white friends that I've known for 30 plus years that have never wavered as a decent human being. And I'll name like Kevin Flynn is a very good, he's a comic from Boston, and him and I have a friendship for 30 plus years. And when I bring up stuff about racism with Kevin, one of the things I love about him, Kevin does it, Wendy does it, Brian does it, Brian Kiley, Randy Lehman. When I talk to them about race, they would say, yeah, you're right. And we would have a conversation. Whereas other white people that I thought we were friends with, if I bring up stuff where come on, yeah, I don't really, and then they try to find every excuse under the sun. So that's why, I give props to those guys for, me being such decent people. And that's what the show's coming up, everyone. That show is coming up. I'm not sure what we're gonna call that show, the I Love You show, I guess. I don't know. I care about you show.
I love Lucy show.
I love Lucy show. If you have a husband, a wife, or whatever, someone that you care about, just tell them.
Thank you.
I'm a huge
Gratitude.
believer in that.
The gratitude show.
Gratitude show.
Well, I love you guys, and I got a show tonight, so I got to get out of here.
All right.
Break a leg.
We love you too.
Don't forget.
Just don't saw one off.
Nah, man.
I know.
I'm about to go make some good old Virginia folks laugh, so I'm going to continue.
Just don't
Very
eat,
nice.
Kevin, just don't eat no Vietnamese food because you heard about that, right? Don't
And
eat
you
it.
guys
God.
can see I'm the babysitter, so I got two.
I know. They're waiting.
Hey! Fathers don't babysit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fathers
You're
do not
parenting.
babysit. Those are your
Come on, Dad, you're breaking all the stereotypes, man. You can't be watching your kids. What's wrong with you?
My daughter's getting her ears pierced, so my wife is going. So it's me and
Wow.
the baby.
Oh, that's awesome,
Great.
man. Cool.
Very,
Yeah.
very nice.
So
Hey, brother. So I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all Tuesday night, right?
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Everybody be safe rest of the weekend.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
I want to thank Yvonne Williams Simmons for chiming in. Thanks, Yvonne. Yes. Pamela Jones, Donna Hagen, Grandma Norma Staley, Gwendolyn Carter. I think that's your name. It says G Car. Did I miss anyone? If I miss anyone, I'm sorry. I want to thank everyone for joining us. So we'll see you next time. 5 Black Comics. We will be here Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm breaking out.
We're still live. Kevin's
Love
on the
you
house.
all. I gotta break out.
Bye.
Patricia Felix said, I'm here. Hey, Patricia.
Hey, Patricia.
We love you too. And you should watch that show because Kevin's going to tell you how much he loves you.
That's
so you
right.
might want to watch that show.
Yes, the mushy show.
Yes, it's the mushy show. All right, we're out. Bye.
Bye, guys.